Hi all, and welcome to the channel. Before we start, I would just like to ask you to subscribe if you aren't already. It is truly appreciated. In today's video, we will be looking into the folklore that inspired the developers of Phasmophobia to add the ghost, the Onryo. Before we look at folklore, let's quickly see what lore there is from Phasmophobia. The Onryo is often referred to as the wrathful spirit. It steals souls from dying victims' bodies to seek revenge. This ghost has been known to fear any form of fire and will do anything to be as far from it. Its strengths: extinguishing a flame can cause an Onryo to attack. Its weaknesses: when threatened, this ghost will be less likely to hunt. Now, let's investigate where this ghost comes from and how it became so feared. I'm sure there are many of you who have already been introduced to this ghost. This has been through films and video games. Two films I will mention are The Grudge and The Ring. Both of the main ghosts in these films were heavily influenced by the Onryo. Also, the very popular video game Dead by Daylight added an Onryo when they released the Shattered Bloodline DLC. So where did this vengeful ghost come from, and why is it deemed so terrifying that so many media platforms have taken its concepts and made this entity so popular? For this, we will have to look at early Japanese text dating as far back as the 8th century. The word Onryo literally translates into vengeful spirit from the kanji characters. The Oni are very well known for causing severe harm and death to anyone it deems as a target. The earliest depictions and examples of Onryo tell of a person who was terribly wronged whilst alive, but upon death they became extremely powerful and malevolent. Onryo don't always kill their victims fast. It has been noted by Japanese scholars that some hauntings, the victims live a long and cursed life, constantly being tormented by this vengeful spirit. Onryo never stop once they have killed. They will move on to another target, but are not always happy with only killing one victim at a time. Extremely powerful Onryo will use its vengeful powers to cause plagues, famines, fires, and earthquakes. There are stories of Onryo's curses being so powerful, even after the spirit had been exorcised, the curse remained for decades. There are many stories within Japanese folklore of how terrifying these ghosts truly are. I will talk about one right now. This story is probably one of Japan's most famous and is still to this day. The Revenge of the Onryo Oiwa. A long time ago, there was a man called Imon. He was a failed samurai who had no one to serve. Imon had to make umbrellas in order to maintain the keep of his family. Imon's wife, Oiwa, was a beautiful young lady. She loved her husband deeply, and after getting pregnant and giving birth, Oiwa became very ill. Oiwa was never unhappy about how poor their family had become, because she was so happy being next to her husband's side. Imon, on the other hand, felt nothing but shame, and over time became enraged by Oiwa, and was enraged that she was so content with such a miserable life. Over time, Imon met another young lady called Ome. She was a granddaughter to a very wealthy doctor. Their love grew and grew, and one day Ome's granddad offered to hire Imon as a samurai, but only if he married Ome. Seduced by the idea, Imon and the grandfather came up with a plan to get rid of Oiwa. They gave this poor woman a medicine to cure all of her diseases. However, this medicine was actually poison. This poison gradually disfigured Oiwa's face and caused huge lesions to appear. By now, Oiwa knew something wasn't right, but was too poor to do anything about it. As Oiwa's beauty began to fade, Imon would insult and shout at her. Because the poison had failed, Imon hired a servant to kill Oiwa, but when the time came, the servant could not commit the deed, instead telling Oiwa about the plan and showing her what the poison had done. In floods of tears, Oiwa could not take what had happened and took the servant's katana, slicing her throat. With her dying breath, Oiwa cursed Imon. Imon later returned home to his family, finding Oiwa dead. Panicking about the servant knowing the plan, he found and killed the poor man. Imon then took the bodies and threw them into the river. He was finally free to marry Ome and start a new life. On the night of their wedding, when the two were finally alone, Imon took the thin white veil off of his wife's face. But staring back at him was not Ome, but the bloodied and disfigured face of Oiwa seeking her revenge. Scared, Imon took out his blade, slicing Oiwa in the face. As she screamed and fell to the floor, Imon saw that it was actually Ome. Imon, panicking, ran down the hallway to only see the servant he had killed. Again, taking out his blade, he swung, taking the head clean off. As the body fell to the floor, it revealed itself as Ome's grandfather. Imon ran to the mountains to seek safety, but everywhere he went, he would see Oiwa. This drove Imon insane, but he was not ready to confess his wicked deeds. One day, Oiwa's younger brother had found out about what had happened and sought out to find Imon. Standing face to face, both men took out their swords, but Imon, being a samurai, had the upper hand. After a tremendous battle, Imon cornered the young man. About to make his final blow, Oiwa appeared. In pure terror, Imon froze, allowing Oiwa's brother to take the final blow, killing Imon. After all this time, Oiwa finally got her revenge. As you can tell, Onryo are not a spirit that you want to come across. These vengeful ghosts do not care about who they kill, enjoying every terrifying moment. Thank you all for watching, and please, if you haven't already, subscribe. As always guys, stay spooky.